41 Americans monitored, 0 left the country. They were on flights, in airports, going about their lives. And now health officials across 8 states are watching them for a virus most people associate with dusty rodent nests in the American Southwest. That's not where this started. This started on a cruise ship called the MV Hondius, and the exposure chain it created reached Maryland before anyone even knew there was an outbreak. As of May 14, 2026, the CDC confirmed 41 people under active monitoring for hantavirus exposure. 8 states: Arizona, California, Georgia, Maryland, Nebraska, and others. 0 confirmed US infections so far. But the reason this triggered a multi-state response isn't the number of people. It's the specific virus involved. Every hantavirus researcher knows the standard rule. Hantaviruses don't spread person to person. You get infected from rodents, their droppings, urine, or saliva. That has been the foundational assumption for decades. The Andes virus broke that rule. Identified in South America, it is the only known hantavirus strain capable of human-to-human transmission. It generally requires close, prolonged contact with an infected person or their bodily fluids. But when the Andes virus is confirmed, the CDC's response protocol changes entirely because the transmission chain no longer needs a rodent in it. Here's how 41 people ended up on a monitoring list. One infected passenger aboard the MV Hondius created 3 separate exposure branches. 18 passengers were repatriated and placed in quarantine facilities in Nebraska and Georgia, including 17 US residents and 1 British dual national. 7 more had already left the ship before the outbreak was identified and were tracked down afterward. And then there's the third group, 16 people who were potentially exposed not on the ship at all, but on commercial flights where a symptomatic Hondius passenger was present. That third category is where the Maryland cases came from. 2 Maryland residents were on a flight. They were never on the MV Hondius. Their potential exposure happened entirely in the air. The number that governs everything now is 42. The Andes virus has an incubation period of 4 to 42 days. That's an unusually wide window. Someone exposed in late April could still develop symptoms well into June. That's why the quarantine facilities in Nebraska and Georgia exist. That's why remote monitoring is ongoing for the 7 passengers who went home before the outbreak was identified. And that's why this doesn't close quickly. Every person on that list is on a rolling clock from their last potential exposure. Look, the 41-person monitoring operation is not a panic signal, it's the system working. 0 confirmed US cases as of May 14, 2026, with active surveillance across 8 states, is the result of fast contact tracing. But the Andes virus earns its place in this story because it's the one hantavirus strain that doesn't need a rodent to complete its transmission chain. Commercial aviation distributed potential exposures across 8 states in hours. That's not a mutation. That's just how fast the world moves now. Subscribe if a story like this is what you came here for. 2 Maryland residents never boarded the MV Hondius. They boarded a plane. That single fact is why hantavirus is no longer just a story about rural rodent exposure.